So this afternoon, I want to make sure that you're aware that what you're about to experience are going to be some excellent, excellent performances. But in addition to that, you're going to hear remarks from the very leaders of this exchange. And then we'll be welcomed by the New Zealand coalition who will be hosting the next exchange. And then in keeping with everything we've seen throughout the entire time we've been here, we're going to close it with the Indigenous drum group.
Hello, everybody, again. Before we move forward with Tunchai and the poetry reading, the wonderful, one of my favorite people in North America, as I said a couple of days ago. First, we have something important to do, the winners of the umbrellas. Okay, so listen for your name. These are really special umbrellas. These are not your normal umbrellas. They're awesome. So listen for your name, and when you hear your name, you're a winner, and you go to the registration desk, not now, when we're finished, go to the registration desk, and they'll have your umbrella, okay? So the winners of the IIDL, International Initiative for Disability Leadership Umbrellas, are Mila Kalamkaritas. Yay. Okay. Nicola Irvine. Sue Robertson. Yay. Anna Ida Johnson. JOHNSSON. Eddie Martin. Amy Brinkley. So, don't look now, but when we finish, go to the registration desk, so have your IIDL umbrellas. Now the list of the winners of the IIMHL umbrellas. Annie Jackson. There's 11 names, so let me read it. Lynn Colson Barr. All right. Kayla Cadell. Yeah, okay, yay, there she is. Tim Butcher.
Ready for this next one? Morissette.
David Morissette. Yippee. Kelsey Linville. Awesome. Suzanne Rogue Fuertes. Suzanne? Okay, the next one, Luis Pedraza Gonzalez. Gina Delaney. All right. Carol Koha. There's Carol. She's right there.
You got it? Okay.
How do you pronounce that?
Oh, I already talked to her.
Okay, and the last one is Marlene Jacques.
I already talked to her.
Okay. Yay. Well, that was exciting. And now to be followed by more excitement, I want to introduce again Tunchai Redvers, who is going to perform her poetry selected for the closing and reflecting on the week's experience. Tunchai.
Itlantea, Tsitsi Tunchai Suye, Wabumi Gwenokwe, Denimeti, Treaty 8 Territory. I feel like you all have seen a lot of me this week, and I do not apologize about that. This week has been, it's been really good. It's been great. It's had its challenges, and there's definitely room for growth, I think, in bringing voices to this space. But what's been most magical about this week has been connecting with the young folks and the young professionals who have made it here this week. And actually this morning we kind of ended up convening in our own little circle off to the side. And it was young folks, young professionals from various countries and cultures just sharing teachings and experiences. And it was super, super impactful. And I think that just spoke to the need to bring more voices like that to the space. So I am super grateful to be able to share just some final closing words in the form of poetry. As you would have heard earlier in the week, yesterday morning, poetry for me is a form of healing, and poetry is a form of processing some of those challenges that I myself have gone through. And writing has actually been the most powerful tool, one of the most powerful tools of healing that I have come across. And so today I just offer some poems from my own book. Shameless little plug that I do have a few copies available. If anybody would like one, I think I have about 7 or 8. So please, first come, first serve, come see me. I'm happy to sign one for you. And I'll be reading from the 2 final chapters of this book, which focuses on the regrounding or the healing, as well as the spreading. So spreading seeds of hope to move forward. And so I walk on the land, the earth my ancestors cultivated with their spirit, their stories interwoven into the threads of root and grass that whisper beneath my toes. I listen and hear their laughter, hardened by resilience, but softened by the hope that their generations of children will walk as I walk and breathe strength and unburdened will to continue to speak the stories that tickle their feet. I do have a few more, so you're more than welcome to hold your applause until the end. It's the boat that holds you steady while you are fighting through rapids. It's the moon that cuts through darkness with a humility that never asks for anything in return. It's the connection that unites you with who you are and reminds you when you forget. Community. But where was your seed planted? Where do your roots live? You are not made of the storms raging against you. You are not prisoner to gray skies above you. You are housed within sacred soil. You are risen from the ones who came before you and the ones who are yet to come. Our communities remain shackled by silence and shame. Only when we choose to collectively take out the keys we already carry in our pockets and listen with open arms can we begin to heal a nation's pain. They breathe belonging into your hands, my friend. So it is up to you to lift those hands out in front for the ones who are suffocating. Our women sew families with their strong hands, bind communities with their ribboned braids. They press forgiveness onto our souls with each new life that they create. Our women are the backbone that has morphed into wings. Without them, we cannot fly. It is because of the pain that your laughter is strong. Like thunder, it echoes healing to those who aren't yet ready to fly. Women, you make me proud of the ones who have given me disappointment. You are strength and love, even though I know you yourself have been disappointed. To my sisters. And I'll end with one more. Her roots were legend beneath sacred soil, just as darkness almost won, ancestral spirit gifted strength in her bones. She lifted weight with blood and heart until air caught her breath, gasping at the beauty of the sky. The story lives on. So Marcy Cho, thank you for taking the time to listen this week, and safe travels. Thank you. And come buy a book.
Thank you. Thank you, Tunchai. If we've had any theme come out of this session, I'll repose it again to everyone. What did you hear? Because it's what you heard that you'll take back. And if we have anything come out of this conference, reflect on what you have heard. And keeping it in that same theme, I'd like to at this time introduce Shamika, who's with the Soka tribe, Caribbean Vibe, and she's going to come forward and speak about her mental health journey as well as perform with two of her dancers.
Good afternoon, everyone. B, I think you might want to turn my mic down. Thank you all. First, I want to say thank you all so much for the work that you do. When I was about 8 years old, my brother was diagnosed with bipolar schizophrenia. And can you imagine, as I explain it now to him when we have conversations, it's you were here and then you were gone. And so just that journey, I say again, we can talk about it now. And he's one of Soka Tribe's biggest supporters and reposting and how proud he is and all of these things. So that was a long journey, but I had to start with thank you for all the work that you've done, because without the work that you do, which is hard, it's messy, it's not clear cut. There are often times, yes, I'm a Booth alum, so I'm very data driven. However, there's so many nuances and you guys are bogged down by rules and red tape. So again, thank you. Sit in that. Thank you. So we're gonna leap forward, way forward from that 8-year-old to, I moved to Washington, D.C. 5 years ago. And as an adult, it's a little different finding friends and finding your niche because everybody's kind of on this path. And in a city like DC, where everyone is hyper-focused on what their next step is and what the next networking event and how many polls and leaps and this is what I'm doing and what are you doing and where do you work and where do you live and what does that mean? And this Caribbean girl, I didn't know what to do. And so I found myself in Washington, D.C., actually recently let go from a job that I'd moved to the city for. Talk about it. And I actually realized at that moment just how Trini I was. Because I started experiencing this feeling that we call in Trinidad called tabanca. And tabanca to us, if you Google it, Wikipedia says it's a homesickness, a longing for something that's gone, right? And what I realized in leaving Brooklyn, New York, where the Caribbean culture is hyper vibrant, and everywhere we go, I thought that was normal. And I'm in DC, the capital of the United States, one of the most diverse cities, and I'm just where are my people? Where's my food? Where's my music? The accents were there, because there are definitely a plethora of accents in DC. I'm not gonna knock that. However, I started entrepreneuring, and literally it was just kind of alone. And you are well versed in the 8 dimensions of wellness, that social sector, as a 30-something in a new city, and it's all the things that I knew are gone, what to do? So I said, you know what I'm gonna do? I am going to try to reconnect with my culture via dance. And so I started, literally, I Googled, I visited studios, I found Off-Roads on 9th and U, went and talked to the owners. I'm hey, I'm trying this thing. I got certified to be a dance instructor. I'm gonna do the Soka-based thing, set up the Eventbrite. You know how that goes, right? Because, I'm trying this thing for the first time. I don't know what's gonna happen. And something beautiful happened. On August 15th, I taught my first Soka-based dance fitness class to a packed room. Where did I find these people? I was showing up in my run group hey guys, I'm gonna try this thing. I don't kinda know what I'm doing, but come through, it's gonna be a good time. Because what I do know is Soka music, I know this culture, and I know carnival. Why I love carnival, I actually skip back, I know you talked to the 8-year-old Shamika, but 4-year-old Shamika used to play mass. And what's playing mass is when you put on the costumes and you are heading down the road in the carnival. So we've got a cut down kind of PC version-ish something going on here today. But listen, mind your audience, right? So you guys do have to focus all day. So I actually grew up in a mass camp. So yes, I was introduced to the culture very, very early in my life. And for me, Carnival was always a time we came together. And I mean everybody, even my brother as he was dealing with his illness, we were all in that mass camp, morning to night, all summer, putting together these costumes together. And so like, to me, mass carnival community. I'm not making a mass camp, but we're gonna come, we're gonna jam to this music, we're gonna work out, everything's gonna feel good, a good sweat, and we're gonna move on. I stand here 4 years later. Soka Tribe has now evolved to a weekly thing. We have a performing group, so these lovely ladies are gonna join us, and we're gonna bring a little bit of carnival to you. I've literally traveled the world doing this. Last year, I set up a dance festival in Ghana. Again, back to this connection, back to this community. Like what brings us together, what unites us is so much more powerful than what keeps us separate. And that is the beauty of carnival. It is the greatest show on earth because it is a participatory sport. You hear that? Participatory sport. There are a lot of smart people in here, so you know what that means is coming for you, right? Just a warning, okay? Heads up, look, checking my time. Okay, I'm good. So, with that being said, we're gonna start with words, right? You're gonna ease you into it. We're not gonna just jump out there. I know you all had lovely lunches and a little stroll around. So, the first phrase, yes sir, take off your jacket. You're gonna need that arm room, all right? So, we're gonna start with the words. I'm going to introduce you to a phrase that it is our hello, how you doing, great job, I can't believe, all at the same time, and that phrase is, way, and yes, I have to, way, every time I say it, because as a Trinidadian, yes, I'm a Brooklyn-born Trinidadian, but as a Trinidadian, everything is a sing-song, because that's how our accent goes. So, you all are going to try this with me. So, we're gonna work on the, way, did you hear, way, are you ready? Well done. So, it's a call, so that's the response, I'm gonna give you the call. Of course, it's Soka Tribe. So when I say Soka Tribe, all you say, that is so crisp, like, is someone recording this? Because I'm gonna need that. One more time, Soka Tribe. Y'all ready? So, you've got the words. Let's just make sure everybody else is working. Is there anybody from Trinidad? Married to a Trinidadian? All right, we got one. Keep your hand up. Come on. Anybody from the Caribbean? Anybody from Europe? All right. Anybody from DC? No, hands up. You're keeping your hand up. Anybody from DC? Okay. Anybody from the West Coast? Okay. From the South? Now that's a trick question, because if I say from the South, that's the south of anywhere. So south of France, South Italy, anywhere. Anybody from Europe? We did Europe already, I lie. Australia? Okay. Did we cover the whole US? Asia? New England, please listen, New England, Boston is very rare. Like, so, go ahead. Okay, put those hands down. So we're gonna use the other hand. Has anyone heard of Carnival? All right, see, that was a trick question. I spent the whole 10 minutes talking about Carnival, so everyone's hand should be up. So we have now checked for mobility. Soka Tribe. Who's heard of Carnival? Both hands up. All right. Okay, with that being said, I think it's time for us to do a little bit of dancing. This is how it's going to go, because I hear in good speaking, it's I tell you what I'm going to do, I do what I'm going to do, and I say thanks. So I'm telling you what I'm going to do. We're going to dance. We are going to dance, because Carnival is a participatory sport, and Soka Tribe's mission is, we're a gateway community to Carnival, so you are coming into the culture right now. The door is open for you to step on through. Come visit us and see other ways you can get involved with Carnival. Brandon is going to turn on some music. These lovely ladies are going to come join me on stage. And when I tell you, you guys are going to dance too. Soka tribe.
Soka till I die. Somebody say Soka, give me life. Somebody say Soka, keep it playing so loud. We ain't even know about anything but Soka, Soka. Bing bang 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 boom, 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 bing bang 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 Soka. It's like girls gone wild, I go get my grill on. Hard as ice and sparkling gold. I'm in a tropical paradise I call home. It's like an alpha and omega, Trinidad to Vega. When I see my people dancing, all I hear is soca. All day long, not gonna leave you for nothing. All day long, I'm gonna play when we bumping. Bing bang boom bang boom, bing bang boom bang boom. Somebody say soca till I die. Somebody say soca, give me life. Somebody say soca, keep it playing so loud. We ain't even know about anything but soca, soca, soca. Look that grills on, wild out, go round. Soca, girls go low.
Hoping that you guys are feeling a little looser. We got Cloudy. Soka tribe. Perfect. So right now, we're gonna need some volunteers. Yeah. Yes. She's like, I'm ready. Anybody in the back? Yes. Come on, honey. Oh, right here. They're gonna help you out. Can we get a gentleman or two? Because real man does play man. All right? So, come on. So, I appreciate the fact that we all know what the Macarena is. There have been a couple of events. I'm like, who does the Macarena? And the kids are like, Maca what? So, we like to call this the Soka Arena. And because all of you have already tested your arms, open, pull, up, take it up. We're going open, close, out, close, down, close, take it up. Again, open, close, pick it up. You can turn the music up. There we go. Soka tribe. So who's gonna get up out their chair? See, that's what I'm talking about. Let's go. Because carnival's about participation. Yes, participation, not participation. All right? Let's do it. 5, 6. Take it. Open. Close. Open. Close. Down. Close. Take it up. Get that shake in there. Open. Close. Open. Close. Out. Take it up. Turn it. Let's go. Another way. Other way. Turn. Come on. Work off that lunge. Let's go. All right. I had to pull up my pants. Hey. How long are we going though? Listen. See, Katie is already vertically. There we go. Take it up. Take it up. Take it up. Take it up. Open. Open. Let's go. Let's go. Listen, you earned this walk up. Hey, hey, hey. Let's go. Open. Don't be afraid to wind your waist. Get all the food going. Turn it. Hey, hey. Let's go. Next way. Hey, hey. So, right hand. This way. Anidana. word is lay. Lay, 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 lay. You say it 10 times. 5, 6, 7, and. Cue number 2. 37. Yes, we're jumping. There we go. Because you are all now part of our carnival family. So everybody on the road, we're never alone. Ready? Soka tribe literally saved my life. And on the way to that, people like you all
let me tell you one time, family is family and that different from bloodline. Some say them is blood, but them don't want to see the sunshine.
Do support Soka Tribe. All of our things on SokaTribe.com.
Thank you so much, Shamika, and the dancers. Be safe. So now that we have our hearts racing, we're going to shift gears. And I want to introduce David Alonso. David is the equivalent of Wide Angle Studios. He's a good friend of International Initiative for Mental Health Leadership. He's been working with me for about 10 years in doing many TED Talks of behavioral health folks and Indigenous behavioral health across the country and other countries. And we want David to come up on the stage now. And he has been doing the Man on the Street talks, short videos throughout the week, and he's going to show you his collage of that. But first we want David to come up and he can say a few words about his work. Hey, David.
Hello, I'm David Alonso. Thank you, Holly, for that very nice introduction. Yeah, as Holly said, we have been working together for about 10 years now. And coincidentally, one of the first travel projects that I worked on with Holly 10 years ago took us to American Samoa. And that is where we met Fran and were introduced to the IIMHL, IIDL. And our paths have crossed several times since then. And in the last few years, we started working together more closely on many of the videos that you may have seen that come out in the news, the bi-monthly news emails. And so I just wanted to say thank you for the opportunity. And if we didn't get you on film this time, then maybe we'll see you next time in New Zealand. But, and a little bit of, one other thing I wanted to say too is that in addition to being a filmmaker and a teacher in college, one of the things that really drives me to do this work and work in this field is that my family has experienced many hardships in having to do with mental health for my entire life, and so this is more than just my work, but it's also something that's very deeply personal to me as well. So I think with that, I think we can go ahead and roll the video, and you guys can see the work for yourself. Thank you.
Mental health increasingly is a topic for many players in society, which is really good news because mental health is just too big a topic for mental health providers alone. For leadership, that means that you have to become a network player. And IIMHL, for me, is really a great platform to meet all different sectors.
It was good to hear how other people and other countries trying to solve their problems because they have the same issues as we have in Greenland.
The common language we came up with after the 2 days, it was an intensive 2 days, but the common language then brought us to a cohesive collective voice, which was the person-centric model is the way we need to go. All of us could agree at the end of the day it's the culture that will help us succeed in this way.
What is Australia doing? What is New Zealand doing? What is Scotland doing? What is England doing that may be a best practice? So I like to think about it as stealing best ideas, bringing them to the United States, and improving the care in the United States with those ideas.
It's benefited my country by understanding what other countries are doing in a whole range of areas, from leadership, employment, self-directed decision-making, and also that because we are rolling out a new way of providing disability services in our country, and so there's always lots to learn and share.
If you talk about the Netherlands, well, we're the new kid on the block. We only became a member this year, and but it already benefited us because in IIMHL we learned about Thrive. That's an intersectoral initiative to improve urban mental health. And we saw examples in New Zealand, in the UK, in the USA, in Canada, and we thought we want to do that too. So now we have Thrive Amsterdam, and that we really owe to IIMHL.
Well, it's very easy to be isolated as a mental health leader, and one of the things I love about IIMHL is that the exchange links you up with mental health leaders from all over the world. Even your peers in your own country are sometimes thinking in the same way. But when you get linked to people from all across the world, you start thinking differently. You can see people who have actually accomplished what you're trying to do, and you can make partnerships with people who are trying to do the same thing.
The initiative has really benefited my work because this is the second time I've done it. I first did it 10 years ago, and some of the connections I made 10 years ago are still people that I have regular communication with. So it's been good sharing of ideas, ideas from other countries that I can then take back and implement in my work.
The exchange opportunity here at IIMHL has brought my team inspiration and innovative ideas, and we're really excited to go back and start using the ideas that we have. The exchange has also allowed us to develop relationships with youth advocates in other countries that we could never have imagined. I think specifically it has felt really inspiring to know that there are other dedicated youth advocates that are in this work, and it feels like we're better connected and therefore stronger as young people.
the whole initiative here is inspirational and very powerful, and the message of recovery and the importance of service user as part of that development of mental health services globally is so important, that we sort of remove ourselves from the traditionally focused model to real recovery, and that means service user engagement and involvement.
And the benefit to Indian country in the United States, tremendous. Our Indigenous batch that we had, Indigenous mental health leadership match, commonality of Native people, Native way of thinking, and they all exchanged tremendous expertise, and a lot of good information will come forward from that.
For my country, I think it's also been, New Zealand's at a point of change. We're doing a lot of really innovative work around primary mental health and changing our system. And certainly I was at the last meeting in Stockholm where I participated in the primary mental health match. And definitely I got lots of ideas, and I'm pretty sure that a number of us New Zealanders who were in that match took many of those ideas back, and we've been using them in our primary mental health rollouts. So it's been great.
This is my 6th IIDL conference that I come to. I've been to Manchester, Stockholm, etc. And each conference is getting really better and better. It's amazing. The exchange took place at the American Psychology Association, so me being a psychologist was like going to the Olympus. One of the things that I'm taking away from it is the importance of collecting long-term data, because if we want to be able to go and tell the story of why leadership matters, we need hardcore data.
Today we had a really interesting discussion about what are some of the disruptive innovations, and the work, for example, that IIMHL is doing through the iCircle, the mental health of cities, the notion that mental health is about all of us, whether it's in the workplace, whether it's about system improvement, whether it's improving housing infrastructure, whether it's mental health literacy, whether it's community engagement. Those initiatives can be applied anywhere in the world. And for example, Cities Rise is doing it in places like Chennai and Nairobi. So I think that shows the reach of IIMHL and the great work that leaders from across countries can do when we have an opportunity to share views and learn from each other.
We certainly want to thank David for that wonderful, wonderful presentation. We'll say again about vision. What did you see? So we combine what did you see? What have you heard? Because we're getting to that portion now where we move to the third phase, and that is, what do we take away? So at this time, it is my distinct honor to present to you all wonderful friend, colleague, mentor, who's the chairman of the board of the IIMHL, Mr. Bob Glover.
How's everybody doing? Has it been a good meeting? All right. Now, I'll tell you one thing that struck me, and every time we get together, is one thing we don't do often enough, and that's acknowledging our elders. And I really want to talk a little bit of respect and gratitude to a few elders that are leaving our board and are no longer going to be part of the decision-making formally of IIMHL, IIDL, but are going to be there for backing and mentoring and assisting us in that background. So, in fact, I've asked Holly Echohawk to help me with this. And in fact, Kathy Lingua, would you please come right here to the stage? Yeah, we ought to have you come on up. And Holly, where are you? Holly's coming up. Thank you. Most of you know Kathy's from Canada. She's been doing amazing work both as a board and assisting, actually coordinating IIMHL in the northern United States and Canada. She's a gem. She started out 6 foot tall. Before this meeting, she wanted a bench. I said, no, you're going to stand up here and please open a present. And in fact, Holly is going to tell us a little bit about what this present is from. But before that, if you haven't met Holly, I just want to introduce you to her. She's now joined the board of the directors for IIMHL. We want to give her a round for that. And those of you that don't know, she's recognized for over 30 years of work in U.S. as an Indigenous, that's a hard one to say, leader in the field of mental health. Holly, if you'd please explain a little bit about what we're doing here.
Sure. Well, the Indigenous mental health match had the real pleasure of holding our match in the Smithsonian National Museum of the American Indian. And it is the last piece of land close to Congress. It was the last piece of land available on the Washington Mall at that time. It's very close to the Congress building. If you get a chance to go into it, it's fabulous. It's quite incredible. And the museum, I'm not sure what happened. I never know what's going on behind me. Oh my God. Wrong present. Anyway, the presents, we purchased the presents at the Smithsonian National Museum of the American Indian. Okay, we'll start again. Okay, rewind that tape. National Museum of American Indian, incredible museum of indigenous people across the Americas, not just U.S. And, oh my gosh. But that's where the gifts came from.
No, we really appreciate all you've done. And I wish you could show it the right way, but we're trying. Oh my gosh. Thank you very much. And we're going to miss her, but she's going to stay with us through several times, right? We're going to have you on as a regional coordinator. Right. Well, we're delighted to have you stay there with us. The other elder that I want to acknowledge, actually, Ian, if you start walking up here, but I want to tell you about Janice Wilson, and if you'd help me, Kathy, with what we talked about with Janice in terms of when we give her credit for. Janice Wilson was an amazing board member since the beginning of IIMHL. She was not able to stay for the remainder of this conference. You know, 2021, we're going to be in New Zealand. We'll hear more about it, and I want you all to get excited about that trip coming up, okay? We'll get a little tease and preview coming soon. But Janice wasn't able to be here, but I gave her a gift on behalf of all of us for serving on the board. You know, too infrequently, and this is for you leaders, we don't tell each other thanks for what we've done. We don't get it frequently, and we don't tell people. And it's time we do this periodically. And with the board that's been doing a lot of work to bring together this meeting and work with all of you, that's kind of what Janice has been instrumental in that over the past 20 years plus. So let's give her a round of applause, even though she's not here. Okay. The third and last, where is Ian? Is he behind me? Where did he? Here he is. When I started out, I had a whole bunch of hair. Ian started out with some. Look at him now. What's happened to this guy? Having been vice chair for a while working with Ian, it's been a delight to work with him. He's got a sense of humor that is amazing, sometimes pointed. At several of us on the board, I would say. But he's been a gem. We're going to miss him. He's been since 2003, right? So you've been with us for a while. And I think we're going to open the right present this time. So if you... Now, we want you to walk around and show it. Very good. Thank you. Ian McPherson. Woo! We have 3 new board members. I'm not sure if they're all in the room, but I'd like to acknowledge them from New Zealand. Barbara Disley. Barbara, are you here? Stand up so they see you, Barbara. Patrick Smith, he's out at SAMHSA today and working with them together, and we're delighted he's representing us out there. He's from Canada, and you all know Holly Echohawk. Holly, where are you? Okay? So you've all seen her, right? Now, you may not, we haven't done a really good job of explaining the real value of these. Are you ready? They're from New Zealand, okay, with a special scientific design. And it's supposed to be able to, if you're caught up in a hurricane, maybe even a level 5 hurricane. Didn't get any laughs at that one. I thought I would. A level 5 hurricane, if this is blown inside out, you can put it back, just turn it around and it'll come out the other way. So this is one of those that you really want. Now, we've got a few we want to give, and I hope you give me a round of applause for our EMCs. No problem. We've got a couple of more to give. And you know, when you're in Washington, it does feel like you're in the middle of a lot of turmoil and so on, and winds, heavy winds, cross currents, etc. But I think we need to acknowledge Anita. Where are you? Anita, you should be right here, and let's give her a great partner. SAMHSA has been with us for many years, both at Nashville and at IIMHL, IILD. Now, I would tell you there are anniversaries. This is Nashville's 60th anniversary. And Brian was how old when we started? But Brian Hepburn and Nashville have done amazing things partnering around this meeting, and we want to thank Brian Hepburn by getting your own umbrella. It's been a delight to have IIDL join over the several years, and recently really be part of us, not a junior partnership, and we're expanding the board to have 2 additional members coming from there, IIDL. And in fact, I want to acknowledge the following people for their efforts. It's been a pleasure working with them. Michael Kendricks, Aaron Bishop, Jennifer Johnson from the United States, Lorna Sullivan, Eddie Bartnick, and Ashlyn Blackmore. And all 3 of the team, all 6 of those people are the IIDL team that's worked to put this together. Let's give them a round of hand. Fran is in transition. And it may surprise you. If you know Fran, he's a giver and not a taker. People trust him. It's that relationship that a lot of governments, as well as individual organizations, as well as clinicians, consumers, all of us have come to love him and trust him immensely. Now, he's been such a giver, he never got our informal mascot an umbrella. So we're going to give it to Fran now. Fran? And I think, Fran, you may want to come on up. No, you have to jump. I'll help you.
Thank you, Bob. And I just want to, also thank all the people who've really worked to get this leadership exchange going this year. It's been a phenomenal success. But there's just one person I want to point out, and you can usually tell when an email comes from me about whether or not it's from me or whether it's not from someone else, mainly because spelling, grammar, numbers are wrong. That's usually my emails. And then the other emails usually come from someone else who really watches over that. And I think there's one person who's been key to a lot of what we've done in the last couple of years. And I just want to really ask her to come up and all of us acknowledge Aragani. Great. Now, I wasn't going to really say much. I was going to just introduce our New Zealand colleagues, but I get a little bit inspired by two things. One is the opening, which was really remarkable. And then this morning's discussion with young people. And although there was one moment there that I was just thinking about, and that is when the question kept being asked, that is, what's mental health going to look like in 50 years? And I'm my background is business administration, so I started taking my pen. I started thinking, okay, 2019, 50 years, 2016, 69, subtract 1949, 120. I thought, what would be nice is that if we do move towards those 50 years, could you do it in a slower pace? That's all. I just wanted a nice slow pace. What I wanted, but the inspiration really started thinking about the concept of resiliency, and I just want to make three comments about resilience and leaders. And I think that's what we are all. We are all leaders in this room, and it's just not the resilience that we talk about individually, but how do we make sure that as leaders we're resilient? And I think that there's three pieces to that I find. One is really, to be a resilient leader, you've got to be a resilient person. And it comes back to how you feel about your family, who you are, your culture, the strength that you have, your diet, your exercise. Because my sense is that if you're not a resilient person, it's hard to be a resilient leader. And sometimes we do basically have our own issues, but the fact of the matter is that what we do is we look for those who are around us, who actually help us. So for me, the first piece of the puzzle to be a resilient leader is trying to make sure that we are a resilient person along with our families, with our friends in our neighborhoods. The second piece is a piece that I keep thinking about, and I'm not sure this description is going to be clear, but I think one of the parts about being a resilient leader is being prepared. That is, preparing yourself for any eventuality. And so my visual way of describing it is that I look at it as a chessboard, a human chessboard. And basically, I'm a piece of that chessboard. And all the other pieces around me are all my other colleagues. And basically, what we're trying to do is make sure that we go forward. And this is one of those non-end games. And what happens is that the more that we work together in our own different pieces, we have all our own different moves, we have all our own different properties. If we move in unison, we keep moving forward. What eventually happens is that we have to oftentimes think of 3 or 4 or 5 moves ahead. And what appears in front of us in terms of progress are these other pieces. Other pieces that sometimes we have no idea where they came from. We don't know what their power is. We don't know what kind of moves they have. We have to look at them. Some of them are absolutely collaborators, and some of them are not collaborators. Some of them are resistant. The game that I see in terms of what we do is we're not out there to knock them off. What we're out there is to try to see if we can turn them in the same direction that we're going. And to me, that's the key is in terms of resilient leaders, is to try to figure out as we move along this board, and we have made amazing progress in the last 50 years, but it's really a game that continues to go. Every time we go 2 more rows, there's another 2 rows added. And the goal is to not overwhelm those who are actually resisting, but to bring them with us. to go around them, to surround them, to be able to pull them in, and then have them join ourselves. So as a resilient leader, my sense is it's a preparation, thinking ahead, looking at how we can make sure that we have the people who are not quite with us right now, understanding that they're not really opposing us, they just have a different view. So therefore, we're not trying to overwhelm them, we're trying to get them to join us. And that helps us be keeping our resilience. And the third part is that just like with our human side, our leadership side sometimes has hiccups. And that's what networks like this happens. Basically, when we have a leadership hiccup, where we feel that we're not resilient, that's where we turn to each other. And that's what these networks are about. You know, if you're looking at, you're working on a city or a rural area and you're feeling like you're stuck and you just at that point don't feel that you've got the strength to go forward, you call your colleagues, just like you would call your family members, your friends. And it's these networks that will give you the support to be able to move forward. So for me, not only do we need to look at being resilient as people, we need to be resilient as leaders. And to me, that's a fundamental reason why we're all together. Now, what I'd like to do is actually invite one of the most resilient leaders we have, and that is I'm an Italian American, so sorry. Robin Scheer is an epitome of a resilient leader, and we're going to be very excited about going to New Zealand next year. And so I'd like to just invite them, and they all come up.
Crikey. Kia ora everyone, tēnā koutou katoa. Well, Fran, I'm so humbled, and it's also my pleasure to have my colleague Brian Coffey here. Now, Brian and I have only just met. We've been in separate rooms for the last few days. A few words. Fran has been an absolute one of those resilient, amazing people that I've called on many times to get advice. And when the going gets tough as a leader, he's someone I could confide in and get support from wherever he was in the world. He was a board member on the Te Pō board for me for a number of years, and we all have those times where you have your ups and downs, and Fran was just a person I could have a coffee with and just get some great advice, and has been an amazing leader and mentor for me. So Fran, thank you so much, honestly. And I feel immensely proud to be standing here because Fran got me involved in IIMHL many, many years ago. And I've had the opportunity to connect with so many amazing people through this network, and yeah, people that I can call on and have been a help to me in my everyday work. So thank you, Fran, and we'll keep connected, and we're going to miss you anyway. We won't go there. Okay, I'm going to hand over to Brian, but I just want to acknowledge I've had lots of comments from people about what we're doing in Aotearoa in New Zealand around the wellbeing budget, and there is a group of people who've been here who helped pave the way for that, and that is the Mental Health Inquiry Panel, and I'd like to acknowledge them. Can you please stand? They're not all here with us, but these are the people that have paved the way. And have helped us have a platform for change for mental health and wellbeing. So thank you so much for the work that you did, the people you listened to, the voices of the community, the way that this panel engaged a wide range of our community in where we need to go. we now have a lot of work to do to honour the work you did, and I take that seriously, as does our government, so that's fantastic. I also want to acknowledge the New Zealand leaders who are here, who've travelled from afar and who've contributed positively, and actually it's been really lovely to connect with you all here. We don't often have the time in our busy lives to do that, so I want to say that. You're going to see a video, and I want Brian to say a few words. I keep saying that and then I keep talking. Apologies. But we, one of the things, the theme for our next exchange in New Zealand in Christchurch in 2021, valuing inclusion, resilience and growth. And the city of Christchurch, as you know, has been through some pretty tough times. The people there have stood up, been amazing, created a whole lot of new opportunities. So Tony Gutschlag and Perry, who I work with closely, are here and have guided actually the country through some tough times, but really amazingly and very practically, and got on and dug in and helped their communities. So there's lots to learn. Christchurch is in an amazing growth phase and you will learn a lot. So for those of you who need a letter of recommendation, we're happy to write for you to come, because I know it's sometimes tough to travel. But we are here as partners, and I'm going to hand over to Brian before I say our last few words.
Kia ora koutou. I'm here to prepare you for coming to Christchurch in 2021. So first of all, let's get the language right. So kia ora. Kia ora. Excellent. I'm also going to introduce you to the hongi. Okay, so e tu, stand. And hopefully you'll have the opportunity when you come to Christchurch to be part of a pōwhiri, and I'll demonstrate the hongi. It's an exchange of breath and greeting. Just slightly touching the nose. Go. Okay, thank you. There's people in the back row getting a little carried away. Okay, so you've got kia ora, you've got the hongi. If you're not comfortable with that, and if you're a guy coming to New Zealand, hand in pocket, slightly back, raise the eyebrows, g'day. All right. You'll do well in New Zealand if you remember those things. So, hands up. Which non-New Zealanders might be in Christchurch? Okay. All right, so to really prepare you, we have our own icons. So there you go. I think we'll have to give it to you. So lastly, before we see the videos that will welcome you to New Zealand, we do want to actually say thank you. Kia ora koutou, mō koto manaaki kia mātou I tēnei wiki. Thank you very much for the care and the welcome that you've provided us for this week, for the learning that's been provided, and we offer that opportunity back to you when you come to Christchurch in 2021.
We will see you there, everyone. Thank you so much for your hospitality this week. It's been amazing. Here's our video.
Tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. I'm delighted to have this opportunity to speak to you as international colleagues who, like me, are passionate about delivering excellence in mental health, addiction and disability services. I extend a warm invitation to come to Christchurch, New Zealand for the IIMHL and IIDL Leadership Exchange from the 1st to the 5th of March 2021. This is the third time New Zealand has hosted the network meeting. The first meeting was held in Wellington in March 2005, followed by Auckland in 2013. The leadership placements for 2021 will be organised across both Australia and New Zealand. In this global age, it is critical that we learn from each other's successes and share innovation. Such learning is the hallmark of IIMHL and IIDL. It's a particularly important time for us to draw on the expertise and experience you possess. Last year, we responded to growing public calls for action on mental health and addiction by initiating a comprehensive inquiry. The final report of this inquiry told us we need a new approach to mental health and addiction in New Zealand. We're taking this very seriously. In this year's wellbeing budget, we announced a $1.9 billion mental health package. The centrepiece of this new suite of policies is a plan for new universal frontline mental health services, promoting early intervention at a primary care level. This investment will expand access and choice in mental health support where people can get help early. We're designing these services alongside those with lived experience, our communities, and those already working in the sector. I'm certain this process will be well advanced by March 2021. I'd like you to come to New Zealand to hear how we are putting these services together, and we would like to hear what you can tell us about your own work that will help us achieve our goals. We'd also like to tell you about our Nurses in Schools program, which is supporting our children's mental wellbeing with early intervention, and resources for teachers to encourage mental resilience. We could also talk about our work to tackle homelessness through the Housing First program. Our plan is to house the homeless, but then help them address their issues by connecting them with services such as counselling and addiction treatment. We want to help them keep their homes and avoid ending up back on the streets. We know that you will enjoy the 2021 Leadership Exchange as we plan to deliver a very exciting agenda when all of you travel to Christchurch following your placements either in New Zealand or in Australia. I look forward to seeing you in Christchurch. We aim to ensure that you get the best learning and practice development opportunities with your visit. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa.
And we have one more video.
Kia ora and greetings everyone. Here in Aotearoa, New Zealand, we're on a journey to transform our disability support system so that people and their whānau have more choice and control over their lives and supports. For instance, we're trialling a new disability support system that was designed with disabled people, their family and whānau in mind. By working with the disability sector, we're building a system that is equitable and sustainable and focuses on good outcomes for disabled people, their whānau, both now and in the future. This work has already shown benefits. For example, in one region, we're seeing better access to services and support by disabled Māori in just under 1 year.
At the same time, we're working to ensure that policy and services for all New Zealanders are designed and implemented to better include disabled people. To support this to happen, we have the New Zealand Disability Strategy and the Disability Action Plan, which have been developed in partnership with disabled people and are the mechanisms established to ensure we progress our commitments under the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities through mainstream government policy and services. It is through this twin-track approach that we achieve inclusion and participation. Inclusion, participation and belonging occurs when we remove barriers that prevent disabled people's access to the well-being and social outcomes to which all New Zealanders aspire. Broader than New Zealand, we have also embarked on renewing relationships with the Pacific region with a contribution made to this year's Pacific Disability Forum Work Programme. We hope the exchanges you have been involved in and your time together in Washington have been informative and enjoyable, and that your time together leaves you motivated and committed to continue the important work in which you are all involved.
We look forward to March 2021, when New Zealand will host the network meeting in Christchurch. We will work hard to provide a great learning experience and ensure that while in New Zealand, you will enjoy the best of Kiwi hospitality.
So, whenever a leader speaks, it needs to be supported by a waiata. Tu tere mai ngā iwi, tātou tātou e. Tu tere mai ngā iwi, tātou tātou e. Whai ana maramatanga, me te ngā iwi ki a puta putahi, ki a putahi rā, tātou tātou e, tātou tātou tahi rua tōru. Sio e. Kia ora.
That was wonderful, and it's going to be very exciting in Christchurch. Very exciting. Thank you so much for that. I wanted to say one thing the day we started, and I forgot, so I'm going to mention it now. The flags. We have 21 flags on the stage. They represent the countries that you all are from, out of respect to recognizing the land that you come from. IIMHL and IIDL always has the flags of the country of the people that are represented. There's also Indigenous flags, I might mention, but these are the flags of the country. So I did want to mention that in case you wondered. There's 21, and it's so exciting to see you all and hear your perspectives from all the different countries. We're very blessed to have everyone here. We're also blessed to have Dennis Soka and his drum group with us to close out in cultural protocol, as we always do. And I've asked Dennis to say a couple of words about his group and the drum.
Ha'e poiomda. That is a traditional well-being greeting of the Kiowa people, one of the many tribes of this land that you're now on. This greeting actually came about during times of both feast and famine. Whenever visitors would come to our camp, if they were tired, hungry, or cold, we would act accordingly and ask them, Ha'e poiomda, how are you feeling? And so this was important, that we recognize you as our people, our friends, our visitors on our lands today. On Wednesday, we did a land acknowledgement of the people of this particular area, the Piscataway people, because this is their land. And it was good to mention them because their forefathers were an instrumental part of the colonization of the United States of America. Today, instead of the land acknowledgement, we will be doing a farewell song for each and every one of you. In the circle of life, there is always a beginning and always an end. And so we would like to end today's festivities with a dance of unity, asking each and every one of you, regardless of background, race, color, religious beliefs, we were going to stand up and we are all going to dance in a circle called the round dance. And this will make us feel very good because it's not often that all the people of the world forget about their political affiliations, their beliefs, and we just become human beings again. That's very important. Because if we did this, there would be no more turmoil and no more war. We would get along if we all held hands and danced together to a common drumbeat. I'm going to ask my father's group, the Zotai Singers, a Native American Music Award and Aboriginal Music Award nominees for their music, to come and sing a song. Now I want everybody to stand up. We're going to have to move the chairs in because we're going to dance around the perimeter of this entire, we might even make 2 circles. Okay. I understand there are some individuals in wheelchairs. We would ask that they have an escort to pull them and be pushing them in a clockwise direction. Everybody line in a big circle all the way around the perimeter of this conference room. Now the dance we're going to do is an actual dance that you would see at the beginning of a large event called powwow. A powwow is a celebration of being Native, where the main focus is on the singing and dancing. All right, now we might have to make 2 circles on this. Maybe a smaller circle inside the perimeter, a smaller circle. And I'm going to be giving you some directions on how to do this dance. Again, this is a real dance, danced by most Native people all the way from Alaska down to the state of Florida. Wherever there is a pocket of Native people, they know about this dance, the round dance. So we're going to have to circle a couple of the tables and we can still accomplish this. Okay, we need some more volunteers to come, and we're just going to try and get around a circle. Yeah, around a set number of tables. Okay, especially particular in this area to my left, if you would please come and join the center circle, and we might have to include a few more tables. Yeah. Stretch out so we can, this group right in the center, join the other group in the center so we can have 2 large groups of circles. Yeah. A few more, all right. Just a few more. Okay. Rob, if you can have them go to maybe some other end tables. But we want just 2 circles, a large outside perimeter circle and a large inside circle. Okay. Rob, if you can have them close this circle, this group right here, with the tall gentleman in the blue suit, will you please come and hold hands with the end of this circle? Yes, sir. And over on that end, if the tall gentleman with the glasses and the kind of, I'm not sure what kind of brown shirt, if you could be the last person and make sure that all the people on that side are holding hands in an unbroken circle. Yeah. Maybe they can, Rob, if you can get them to stretch out to one more group of tables. We've done this with children from all over the world, and it's... No, you all are doing a good job. Okay. If I can have everybody's attention here, and I will be telling you how to do this dance. What I need everybody to do is step to the left, the other left on the other side, and bring your right foot to it. So it's left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, which will be moving us in a clockwise direction. Everybody's going to be holding hands and moving their arms in and out and in and out. And it's basically that simple. Again, this is a real dance done by many, many native tribes from throughout the Northern Hemisphere. So with that, Zotai singers, anytime you're ready, let's get started with the round dance. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Okay, everybody keep moving to the left, especially in this area. This is a beautiful sight. All of the delegates, all dancing in harmony to a common drum beat in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. Everybody keep moving to the left. Small steps, little to the left, to the left, to the left, to the left, to the left. All right, swing and sway the Washington, D.C. way. right, give yourselves a great big round of applause. You may be seated. This was a beautiful sight, and it was filmed. Hopefully it will be on the website of the conference. If we can all please take our seats, we have one more song to represent. In all the cultures of the world, there are ways to speak to our Creator. Among Native people, there is oratory, but there is also song. We're going to end this session today and the conference with a very beautiful song, and it is called the Quitting Song. And it will serve as a prayer. May you have a safe trip back to your homes, your communities, and your families. May you go with good feelings and think about all the things you've learned here and share them with the people that need it the most. And with that, the Quitting Song, Zotai Singers.
Thank you so much to the Tunchai Drum Group, and Dennis, you've been so good to us, Dennis. We appreciate it very much, and your father in particular. This is the close of this year's IIMHL, IIDL. It's been wonderful to see everybody. I just want to wish you safe travel and great love to your families.
All right. And I'd also like to personally thank all of you for expanding my knowledge as a physician. I think through this afternoon, my vast knowledge of anatomy has taught me that I have muscle groups that did not exist before that are now calling out my name very loudly. So in that same light, just a reminder that outside the doors, downstairs in the hotel lobby, is a welcoming reception. So we invite you all to convene there as we leave. All the best.